Hello, thank you for clicking on to In the Stands. So it's another daily roundup, less of the games because there wasn't on today, but plenty of transfer rumours and all of that information. So Harry, transfer rumours, what should people listen out for?
Well, we talked quite a lot about Timo Werner and the impact that he could have at Chelsea and why he didn't go to Liverpool.
Yeah, and Mike, we covered contract sagas, not just transfers, but contract sagas. Anything that, contract-wise, people should be noted of?
You got the contracts to do with Ryan Fraser and David Luiz, and also a little bit on Pierre-Emile Højbjerg as well.
Yeah, so keep an eye out for that. And finally, we also covered, as there was no games today, we covered the weekend ahead of all the ones you should look out for and any of the interesting ones, as well as championship coverage as well of games and possibilities that could happen there as well, as also the championship starts over the weekend. So plenty to look out for on this one. Hope you enjoy it. And we'll see what past us had to say. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to In the Stands again. We're going to do another daily roundup of football. No football today, but plenty has happened. We can still talk about it, can't we? It's me, Ollie, but I'm still here with my co-host. Still here with Harry. How you doing, Harry?
I'm doing good, thanks. Hope you're doing well as well.
Oh, thanks, man. Mikey, how you doing, mate? You good?
Not too bad.
Awesome. So what do we want to talk about today? What's the first thing? I think the big news is transfers, isn't it? Timo Werner to Chelsea.
There's been a big transfer. 24-year-old Timo Werner signed for Chelsea on a 5-year deal.
Yeah.
They activated his £45 million release clause, and he's on his way to Stamford Bridge.
That's still, I still don't know. He has been amazing for. It is Leipzig, wasn't it? I was going to say the other one, but no, it is Leipzig. But 45 million is a steal for a player that's putting up those amount of stats that he had, wasn't he? A prolific goal scorer, and to get him for 45 million deal, that's incredible bit of business, isn't it?
It's 93 goals in 157 appearances.
Wow.
He's probably one of the top marksmen in Europe, and he's in the Bundesliga. He's only behind Lewandowski in the top goal scorer rankings. He was linked with Liverpool, wasn't he? In January. So I got quite far down the line, but they didn't go for it. Yeah,
it's crazy. And why do you think he did choose Chelsea? Because I'm sure there would have been plenty of other teams in for him. What do you think particularly at Chelsea attracted him to go there, do you think?
I mean, the potential to start, I think, is probably I think that's the thing that he would have turned him away from Liverpool, is the fact that you've got one of the best front three in Europe. I mean, it's a Champions League winning front three. It's going to be very difficult to break your way into that starting 11. While Chelsea, you look at their strikers, you've got an ageing Olivier Giroud, Michy Batshuayi, who never seems to be given a chance there, and Tammy Abraham, who's slowly making his way into he's slowly getting into the England setup now. So, if those two can form a partnership up front, I think that'll be one of the scariest front twos in the Premier League.
Yeah, it really does worry me how good. I was looking at it thinking this could just propel Chelsea. And I know Chelsea have had a history of questionable striker purchases, but this one seems like by far the best piece of business they've done in a long time. Activating a release clause, which is a pretty fair, for a goal scorer like him to get him for 45 million is an absolute steal. And the fact that they've convinced him to join, I think, is a very good piece of business. What do you think? What sort of impact do you reckon he will have at Chelsea, Tiz?
Well, he's going to take the role of Tammy Abraham. That's almost a sure when you're spending £45 million on the player. Unless Tammy Abraham has a phenomenal end to the season, he's going to do that. But I think it's because they've lacked prolific goal scorer, like you said. I think they've not had that in years, to be honest with you. It's not since Diego Costa have they had a striker that can just bang in goals left, right and centre. So I think that's a big reason. I think I heard someone say Abramovich found life pretty boring when he wasn't investing hundreds upon hundreds of millions into football, because I don't think he did it for the last season or the season before, I can't remember, because he did spend 70 million on Kepa. And before the next transfer even starts, he's got Ziyech almost guaranteed to join. He's got Werner guaranteed to join. Chilwell's they've been heavily linked with, and Havertz almost seems like he wants to go to Chelsea as well. So are they building a squad that not only can compete on the Champions League front, but possibly a Premier League winning squad?
Yeah, that's what I'm. If they land 4 out of 4 for those, where would you see them? Not not the end of this season, but obviously next season, where do you think they could try and compete for? Because if they've got a world-class striker in, they've got a solid left-back, which they've needed for a while. Who's the other one? Ziyech is coming in, so who's another a winger. And who's the other one they're targeted with? I think they're targeted with Havertz as well, isn't they? That's been rumoured as well. If all four of those come in, where could you see Chelsea going? You know, what would they be aiming for? And what could they realistically be achieving with that team?
This is going to sound stupid. Third. I don't think those signings will get him close to Liverpool City. I think they'll still be a step ahead. They'll be closer. I'm
definitely.
sure probably 3-4 years' time when you get the development of these players, and I mean Ziyech is going to be in his prime 3 years into the future. Havertz is going to start getting into there as well. I think then that will be challenging with a couple more signings. But I City and Liverpool just seem to be a step above what everyone else can do, and I think this is what I think. United will probably be closer if they can land a couple of signings this summer. I think United will be closer than Chelsea.
It's a really interesting one, and I think we will see such a top four battle, because I think the rest of the teams realise how far off they really are from the top two. So I think they will definitely try and get some of those points shared. And I know Man United took a couple off City, but I think, would you be more excited in that way to see the points more evenly distributed, or would you rather just see two absolute class teams running away with the league?
I'd be concerned. So I'd be concerned for Liverpool, because although they're obviously going to win a record-breaking Premier League this season, what they haven't done last year and really this year either, they've not improved their squads. And I think when you're at your strongest, that's when you need to improve. And I think that's what Liverpool need to do. Otherwise, I know it sounds ridiculous because they're going to have a record-breaking season. They might fall off if they don't improve on what already is a stacked squad. Because if you're record breaking, you're comfortable. You're comfortable because you think you're the best, because you are the best, and that's when your weakness. When Chelsea are already having a ridiculous attacking line, especially now with Werner, and now they're trying to bring in Havertz when they don't really need Havertz. They probably need to strengthen in other areas, and I think that's what Abramovich has sort of seen in the fact of. He wants Chelsea to win another Premier League title, quite obviously. So he's just piling in the money left, right and centre, especially now that Willian's probably going to go. Hedgerow's not going to play for the rest of the season because he's going to be off to Roma. That they fill the gaps that they sort of need to, and more.
Yeah. And what sort of teams do you reckon are going to be left behind when it's clear Man United and Chelsea are both
Arsenal
strengthening?
and Tottenham.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say, isn't it?
Absolutely miles behind.
Yeah.
I think with Spurs have had money troubles now that they've got their new stadium as well. They're not going to be able to spend the amount that they could have spent. And I mean, Daniel Levy as well, he's known for not spending a lot too. So Tottenham are going to be more of a development side than they are going to be pushing for those top four places. I think maybe 3-4 years into the future, maybe. But next season, definitely not. And then Arsenal are just a little bit of a mess right now. You can see players there that do have a future, and the academy graduates coming through at the moment, they do look really quite good, you know, with Bukayo Saka and Eddie Nketiah and many more. It just, those two aren't going to be as close or probably anywhere near. And I think going on the point of like it being will be more exciting, a top 2 or 4 teams going for it. I think we're just going to see the return of a top 4 for the next couple of seasons, and like 4 teams going for it. And I think that will make the league so much more exciting.
Yeah.
Because instead of just having Liverpool and City battling it out, that just means every other fixture is that much more important. Because if you slip up on one, that could be, like, it sounds ridiculous. If you slip up on 3 games, you could lose the league title. That's how strong these teams are getting now. I think City have hit 100 points. Liverpool are definitely going to hit 100 points this year, probably. So, I mean, they're going to lose twice, or like once or twice this season. So, yeah.
In that sort of way, is it going to be more exciting to have the league winners finish on less points? Because if they're going to all be beating each other, that's going to make for an even more entertaining. Because I know everyone says, every team can beat every team, but we've sort of seen with Liverpool that's not the case. Even Manchester City, they've still got ridiculous points tally, just yet it's due to the fact that Liverpool are so good. that they're going to fall off. And with the thing about Arsenal, I was saying it on a different podcast about 5 hours ago, the fact that they need to go back before they can go forward. The season that Leicester won the league and Saints came 5th or 6th, I can't remember. Chelsea came behind us, Southampton. Liverpool came 8th or 9th. But then look at Liverpool now; they're sort of league winners. Well, they're going to be league winners. So for them, they've just got to have a massive squad rebuild, because by the time this whole rebuild happens, Lacazette's going to be 33, Aubameyang's going to be 34. I think they just need to cash in all their key assets and just build for the future, really, because I can't see them finishing in the top 6, not even next season, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it seems, and Spurs look like they're just going for players who are running on. They're running their contracts down, and they look like they want to just sign players on free. I think we mentioned it earlier. There was a Thiago Silva link because he's 36 and being released from PSG, and it looks like Højbjerg's been stripped of the captaincy at Southampton, which shows probably an indication that he's on the move. So that's another one that Spurs are linked with, and I believe Fraser as well looks like he's going to be leaving. Is that right, Mo?
Yes, Ryan Fraser was offered an extension only to the end of the 9 games. He was offered an extension to stay along, and he said no.
Really?
Yeah. So I mean, there were 5 players from Bournemouth that were offered extensions. Simon Francis, Arthur Boruc, Andrew Sermon, and Charlie Daniels all accepted the extensions. Ryan Fraser did not, and it's just that feels like a little bit of a. Just sort of like a behind their backs, sort of they're in a relegation battle. They need their best players, and Ryan Fraser's walking out on them. Yeah, it's a little bit backstabbing, really.
Yeah, it seems strange, doesn't it? And I don't really know, because he had a very good season with Wilson the year before, but this year, as Bournemouth have kind of been dragged into the relegation battle, we haven't really seen as much of his quality, and players like Brooks have come through and shown more of an interest to the top teams than probably Fraser has. Where do you think his next move is? Is it still in the Premier League? Is there any big teams you could see going for him?
This was at the end of last season. So you got 7 goals and 14 assists last season. He was probably playing at the peak that he's ever played at. And there were links to Chelsea, Arsenal and Spurs, I think. And Bournemouth refused to sell. And this year, in 28 games, he's got 1 goal and 4 assists. And that has the interest has cooled, definitely. And the main link is to Everton, who want him on a free transfer. But I don't think he'll move to a top 6 club. I think it came out this morning that Arsenal were offered him and they've said no. So I don't know where he's going to end up, to be fair. Yeah,
I think it's sort of the Sadio Berahino effect, and the sort of, you saw it at West Brom where he was linked with a lot of top sides. West Brom decided to keep him. He stayed the next season, had a bit of a drop. His form declined, and I think Berahino just didn't really play. And then he went to Stoke for 15 million or something like that. Yeah, I think it's the sort of same thing with Ryan Fraser. He's been linked with all the top teams, thinks he's all that. Bournemouth say no, you've got a contract here. We'll release you on a free, that's fine. We just want you for 1 more season. He's thrown the teddies out at the end of the season, despite the fact he's got, like you said, almost no goals and no assists compared to last season. And now Everton are a good side. They're an improvement on Bournemouth. They're nowhere near the team that, he feels like he's good enough at. Well, actually, if you're getting the stats that you were last season, then you'd be playing for those sorts of teams. But it's just sort of it feels like he had a bit of a Michu-esque season last year where he put all of his goals and assists into one season, and the season before and after, he didn't really do anything.
Yeah. You were on Berahino there, which reminded me of West Brom. Correct me if I'm wrong, isn't the Championship coming back this weekend as well?
It is indeed on the 20th, so the Saturday, when there's going to be quite a few games.
Yeah. Okay, well, we can start with the Championship and then move up. Harry, you're quite familiar with the Championship. Any things we should be looking out for as the Championship returns?
We've got Brentford v Fulham. That's a big game, 3rd v 4th. Fulham have to win if they want really any chance of finishing in the top 2, because I think West Brom are 6 points and Leeds are 7 points clear of 3rd. So if Brentford win, they'll be on 63 points. So they'll still be 8 points behind West Brom. 7 points behind West Brom, 8 points behind Leeds, no matter what happens. But for me, this is going to be Leeds' season. this is going to be Leeds' season to go up, because surely with 11 games left, normally they bostle it at this stage, the fact that it's sort of the end of season tiredness. But actually, they've had another pre-season, and because they're normally good at the start of seasons, for them this is going to be the start of a new season, despite the fact it's still the old season.
Yeah. So can you see any tripping up points for Leeds, or is it, because I'm just looking at them now and they've won all of their last 5 games. I know that was before, but clearly on brilliant form before the break. West Brom 1 point behind, but is it basically Leeds to win now, or has West Brom still got a really good chance to try and top them?
Look, it's the Championship. Everything can happen. Every team beats every team. You saw Aston Villa last season. 12 games remaining. I think they won all of them, or all but a couple. Went from mid-table to playoffs, won the playoffs, and now in the Premier League. So still, really, anything can happen. Even the relegation sort of area. I think Hull and Charlton are playing against each other, and they're in that 22nd, 21st spot. I think Hull are just outside, Charlton are just inside. So it's sort of anything can happen in the Championship, and I think it'll be 3 or 4 games where you can really tell who's had a good pre-season or pre-mid-season and who's not.
Yeah.
It really surprised me. If you look like 10th downwards, 10th to 22nd, all of those teams have been in the Premier League in the past decade or so. I mean, Sheffield Wednesday maybe not, but look, like Blackburn, Swansea, Derby, Reading, QPR, Birmingham, Stoke, Huddersfield. Like, these teams are teams that have played in the Premier League and they've dropped down, and it's obviously a massive effect of them. And it just shows the importance of staying up and how important being a Premier League club is, and keeping that spot. Because otherwise you can find yourself fighting in a relegation battle. Of course, Wigan's been down, Blackburn's been down to League One as well. So it's not always easy coming back up. And that is just the Championship. You've got no idea. That's what makes it probably more exciting than the Premier League, because even at the start of the season, you've got no idea. Millwall's in 8th. Millwall could get a playoff space this year, and they were predicted to come down near the bottom 3. So it is such an incredible, exciting league, and you just don't have a clue how you're going to do.
Well, you say about Millwall, they're close to the playoffs. Is there any teams you'd like to see progress through the playoffs, or the top 2 there? Is there any teams you would like to see up in the Premier League?
Derby, for me. Forest and Derby. And to be fair, Derby are 12th, they're only 5 points off. And Philip Koku's got them playing a much better, or not a better style, because they did have Frank Lampard before, but he's got them playing a nice sort of brand of football. They've got great youngsters coming through, just like Max Bird and Lewis Sibley. And due to the fact they've sort of had this 3 months to sort of get this system working, because at the start of the season they didn't have a great start and they slowly built through. They could probably get playoffs, and say with Notts Forest, they're in a phenomenal position, and that'll be another good team to see up there.
Yeah, I'd love to see Forest up. I don't know what it is, but I'd definitely like to see. If I could go and see Forest, that would be definitely something I'd like to do. So I would really like to see them back in the Premier League. But yeah, like you said, Derby looking good as well. Mike, any that you'd like to see personally up?
Forest would be one. I'd like to see Fulham back up as well. I do like Fulham as a side, so I'd like to see them back up too. West Brom can bottle it, that's fine.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's Championship.
Don't see what's wrong with West Brom.
Let's resume. As the Championship's resuming, well, there's also the Premier League that's got plenty of tasty fixtures going on over the weekend. Any particular highlights of games coming up that you guys are looking forward to?
You got Friday night football, Spurs against United, which will always be a tasty fixture. Especially because you've now got the likes of Harry Kane and Paul Pogba back. Hopefully both starting, and I'm sure that will make it interesting, because their quality definitely changes the sides. With Harry Kane as a number 9 and Paul Pogba in the United midfield, I think it changes the way that they play, because they can play to the strengths of these world-class players that they've got.
Is it a must-win for Spurs, would you say?
If they want any chance of Champions League, yeah. United probably would be happier walking away with a point out of the 2 sides, but I can. That's what I can see. I can see a score draw from this game. I can't see either side coming out with a win.
Yeah, I think it's one of those ones coming back into. They don't want to risk too much, do they? Because you suddenly look at that Spurs. They come out with that with a loss, and then suddenly they are way off the pace, aren't they? Which you look, they can jump to Sheffield United. Results pending. They could leapfrog Sheffield United to 6th and suddenly try and push for it. But yeah, they say get a loss really could set them back. So I think it's one of those ones where we might see the teams kind of happy to get a draw, but also disappointed at the same. Does that make sense? The fact that a draw wouldn't be the worst case scenario, but then again, they'd be disappointed maybe if they didn't get a win as well. So it's quite a difficult circumstance.
If Tottenham lose, they're 7 points behind Manchester United if they lose. So that's Champions League completely out the window, knowing that Chelsea are already 7 points in front of them. If Chelsea beat Aston Villa, which they probably should do, I know it's at Villa Park, but which they probably should do, that's probably Tottenham out of it, and that's probably Mourinho's still on thin ice there because he was brought in to win something and he's been knocked out of the FA Cup. It doesn't look like he's going to get Champions League football. So maybe next season is the clean slate sort of season rather than the back end of this one.
Yeah, possibly. Anything else any other kind of games to have a look at, or any other mentions?
Merseyside derby?
Oh yeah, of course, yeah, that's coming up.
The big one.
Yeah.
Obviously, Liverpool can't win the league, but do you think that would change their mentality?
Nope.
They're just so well drilled to try and win those games now, aren't they? And I think if they can't do it at this one, they'll do it at the next one. And it's almost like they're almost like, yep, we'll win this one and then we'll go and win the title. I think at this point, I don't know the record between Everton and Liverpool derbies, but I think Liverpool are quite high up, aren't they? Is that safe in saying so? Can anyone find the
Everton have only won twice at Anfield in the whole of the Premier League era.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. So they're not well drilled in winning. I know it's at Goodison Park, but Everton, they wouldn't have wanted it to be won at Goodison Park. But do you think they're sort of disappointed now that they can't deny their rivals what they've always wanted to do and win at Goodison?
No, because I think Liverpool will still beat them. It sort of saved them from having that happen to them. And the last time that Everton won was in 2010. It's the last time that they beat Liverpool. So it's been a long time, and I think they'd love to win it, especially this year, being the year that they'll probably win the title. I think they'd love to beat them this year, but I can just see Liverpool battering them. I mean, I had Everton to beat them, but now the title's not up for grabs. I can't see it happening.
Yeah. So, yeah, it'd be definitely interesting to see that one. Any other kind of final games that you guys are interested to have a look at and see what's coming up?
We've also got Brighton, Arsenal, so that could be a slippery one for Arsenal because Brighton haven't won this year, but obviously clean slate, and the fact that they don't have David Luiz might help Brighton. We never know. Mikey, who could replace David Luiz in that back line?
This is it. Like, they've got a lot of injuries as well. So Callum Chambers is out until the end of August. Mari obviously got taken off with an Achilles injuries. Socrates hurt himself, and we don't know how. I don't know how long he's out for, but it was just before the City game that it happened. So you're looking at Rob Holding is probably the man to come in. He's made 2 appearances this year. He's not. He was supposed to be like one of the next big things, wasn't he? Going through. Well, he was at Bolton and he moved to Arsenal and never really got given the chance. And you got 2 Arsenal Academy graduates as well, and Zach Medley and Daniel Ballard, who've been mentioned on Twitter, of 2 that could step up. A lot of people saying Zach Medley, he captained the under-18 side to a title in the under-18 league. He's played multiple games in the second league as well, in the Premier League under-23s. So yeah, he could be an interesting one to step up to, see him play, but they don't have a lot of options, and this is the problem with the David Luiz contract situation happening now. Do you extend his contract from the two weeks that he's got left? Do you extend his contract? But of course, he's missing the 2 games because he's suspended.
I think just squad depth-wise, not in terms of the next 2 games, but the problem is you talk about all these injuries. Cam Chambers is an injury. Obviously, he's out for a long time. Rob Holding's always seems to have an injury to him. So not due to his quality, but due to the fact that they need squad depth and experience. And despite the fact that David Luiz hasn't been playing phenomenally well this season, I'd still keep him on, especially because he wants to say, because he'd want to prove something. He doesn't want to leave Arsenal off the back of a red card in 25 minutes against Manchester City. I know people say that he's mistake prone, but the fact is that he's still a good centre back. It's just he's been plastered with such an attribute that the sort of people expected that performance from him. That might be slightly unfair. But yeah, I'd probably extend it just the end of the season. I probably wouldn't give him a 1-year deal because they've got William Saliba coming through, who, despite the fact he's in League and has got better statistics. I think he's got higher tackles per game, higher interceptions per game than David Luiz, and he's someone that can slot straight in there. It'd just be interesting to see, starting next season, who he partners up with.
He's also on that European Golden Boy list as well, is William Saliba, so he could be a one to look out for. But it was interesting after the game when David Luiz gave an interview, he mentioned that Arteta wants him to stay. The quote was, the coach wants him to stay. So he believes that Arteta wants him. Apparently they have talked about it. This year, I mean, of course, the performance last night was fantastic. And then he's conceded 4 penalties this season, which is the joint most ever in a Premier League season, joint to Jose Fonte. Two errors leading to goals as well this season. And he's only kept 6 clean sheets in 26 appearances, which is quite poor. But then you look at how young the Arsenal side is and the experience that he brings. He's won a Premier League, he's won FA Cups, won a Champions League, won multiple trophies at PSG as well. So he's got the experience there, and he obviously does have the quality. It's just sometimes lacks the concentration and the in vital moments. I think that's the problem with David Luiz.
Very true. All very true. Any other kind of highlights? I saw that Eric Garcia is out of hospital, which looks very good news considering how serious it looked. He was carried off in a neck brace and stretcher, so it did look very serious. But to see he's out of hospital and he's going to be monitored by Man City to see whether he's ready to play again. He'll probably take. I don't think he'll be ready by Monday, but it is still very good news to see he's all good and well, which is good news to kind of finish it on. But yeah, is there any other kind of final thoughts that you guys have when we look ahead to obviously tomorrow and the weekend of football back? Any other kind of things you can think of?
No, I think we've covered everything. All the key games. I think we've covered. It'll be interesting to see how they're played out.
And of course, we'll be back for tomorrow to summarise what happened on the Friday. So hope you enjoy the football while you're watching it along, and make sure you tune in for the next days while we cover and round up everything that was covered. So yeah, we'll see you then. Hope you stay well, and yeah, see you next time.